When night falls over Birmingham, there are people who gather to push fate to the extreme, challenging their nerve and their skill to test speed, in some cases illegally. 19-year-old Robbie Peppers has been racing for just over a year.
It's a huge adrenaline rush when you pull out that line and your heart's pumping, you're waiting for the green light, and as soon as it goes, you're just on it all the way to the finish line. Once you get done, it's just a feeling that you can't describe.
Why is it that speed is so inviting? What is it that makes the thrill worth the deadly risk?
It's a different experience when you're on the street racing.
If you're out there with a group of guys, it's always who's the fastest, who can ride at the front of the pack. Basically, who's the best.
We talk with PJ Rumore at Motorways, who left behind the street scene and now races motorcycles professionally.
You got to have your stuff together to be able to get out there and do it, because you memory lapse for 1 second, it's over.
Rumore has seen his share of accidents caused by irresponsible speeding.
I had my last wreck at Cheehaw at about 100 miles an hour and flipped the bike and decided that was it.
The effects of a crash can be life-changing.
Stuck a foot bag through my leg, degloved my left hand. Now I have 7 screws and a plate in my left leg.
In February, Hoover police blamed this deadly accident on 2 drivers drag racing on I-65. The crash killed an innocent driver, 18-year-old Heather Vaughn of Gardendale. She was actually on the opposite side of the road. But now more and more racers are taking late-night grudge matches to a different location, official drag strips like Lassiter Mountain.
It's a lot safer. You don't have to worry about the surface being dirty. It's always clean. There's people out there to watch. If you do go down and you do get hurt, there's people there to help you immediately.
And if you have to satisfy your need for speed, always wear the proper safety equipment. And most importantly, make sure it's the right place. From Lassiter Mountain, Chris Osborne, ABC 3340.
Uniontown was a hopping place. It was, you could go through there on Saturday night or Friday night, Saturday night, and you just barely could get through the city on both sides of the street, because they had all kinds of cafes and juke joints and music was going. Got a sweet little angel.
Elnora Jackson even remembers when cotton was king.
Yeah, good, did I pick cotton? I knew that now y'all don't start me talking about this cotton picking now.
Now cotton and a bustling downtown are replaced with the new marquee, a Dollar General store, and a few locally owned businesses. Uniontown, once the heart of the Blackbelt, now joins other cities in the South, plagued by statistics. According to the latest census, if you live in the Blackbelt, you are less likely to grow up in a 2-parent home, less likely to live beyond 70, and also less likely to make above $15,000 a year.
Still left, and the sewing industry, NAFTA and all that stuff, those jobs left. Some of that's caused by on the federal level, programs that they initiated, and various reasons that they left this area, and so we had to suffer from that.
A big blow, the closing of the King Far Cannery in the early 70s. In its heyday, it employed more than 300 people. Bright Norfleet was 17 years old when he began working at the warehouse. 17 years later, he was out of work.
After it shut down, I see Uniontown began to deteriorate.
According to the latest census, 8 of the state's Black Belt counties are listed among the poorest in the nation. And that statistic is partly due to this: factories, plants that have shut down, leaving unemployed residents to either move away to find a job or stay here and wait
on new opportunities. That's what Elnora Jackson did after 18 years at King Far.
But I didn't never go nowhere. I just stayed right around here in Uniontown, and we got on pretty much on something like they call welfare and food stamp. And so I just took care of them like that.
Catfish farms have replaced steel mills and warehouses. This farm in Uniontown has about 350 workers. This cheese factory employs about 30 people. And the elementary school is beating the odds. Even though 95% of the students depend on free or reduced lunches, the school is on academic clear.
If a change was going to happen in the Black Belt, if a change was going to happen in Uniontown, it first began with the way we thought.
And Mayor Philip White is working to change the area's thinking. With the opening of Hyundai and Mercedes, Uniontown is joining forces with Marion and the Perry County Commission to lure automotive suppliers to the area.
We have one particular site in the county that we're pushing. It's a site that's situated between Marion and Uniontown, about 12 miles outside of our city. And so we're trying to promote that as our particular site. In the meantime, like I said, we're working with other cities, because if something good happens there, we got to reap the benefits.
Benefits the town hopes will lead to even more jobs and a chance to return this area to its glory days. In Uniontown, Valerie Carter, ABC 3340.
Dennis Tugman, my photographer, and I traveled all around the metro area today checking for heat-related problems, and we found several schools that had some air conditioning problems and one very serious problem for a man who lives in this house here in Bessemer. Glenn Middle School was one of several Birmingham public schools experiencing air conditioning problems today. A couple of classrooms were without air, but the problem was fixed in a couple of hours. By 2:30 this afternoon, Birmingham public schools had just 6 schools experiencing minor problems.
Hello. Hey, I'm going to stay there with Mid-South Home Health.
But the most serious problem we encountered today was at the Bessemer home of 71-year-old Lonnie Anderson. He got home from the hospital last week after having his right leg amputated at the knee and found out he had no air conditioning.
I'm trying to learn to walk with a crutch and stuff like that, you know. And it's terrible. Trying to sit down here and all this heat.
After calling Sears to fix it, he says he was told it would be 2 weeks before they could come. Way too long for a man trapped in his house with the temperature inside at 90+ degrees. So I called Sears, got transferred around, and then got cut off. So I called Standard Heating and Air, who agreed to come now and fix the problem for free.
In his condition, that's probably pretty hard to tolerate. And, you know, I guess if we can help out, we'll you know, that's what we can do.
Today is day number 6 of 100+ degree temperatures. Tomorrow will be day number 7. That will tie the record. Wednesday will be day number 8, and that will set a new record. James Spann will have much more on that coming up later in weather. Reporting live in Bessemer, Roy Hobbs, ABC 3340.
Birmingham changed the course of the nation. Had it not been for Birmingham, things that's going on throughout the world would not have happened.
I think if it hadn't been for the movement, don't tell it what didn't happen now. I think that when the movement changed, not only Birmingham or Alabama of America, but the world.
The one phrase you heard most among the foot soldiers is, there has got to be a change. Those marches and demonstrations made that possible. But there's another question many are asking 40 years later. Did any of it make a difference?
Do you think
That's like when Moses and them had got to the Jordan, they still had to cross the Jordan and go into the Promised Land. So we've been out about 40 years, and we still have to recreate a social order based on theological law and constitutional law that's all inclusive. So that work has to be done. But our experience has given us the means to do that work.
I'm proud of the fact to have been involved in that era of history to make change, try to make change. We made some changes, we didn't make enough.
I'm more proud of this because black and white is coming together now. We is coming together as people.
40 years after the 1963 civil rights movement, many foot soldiers worry about the future and a lesson lost. They struggle with how to preserve their past so future generations won't have to repeat it.
Because see, a lot of us, they missed the point about Dr. King. He wanted to love each other, love our brothers and sisters, but right now it seems like we are our worst enemy, killing each other.
It kind of bothers me with these kids. They don't count life anymore. And it's so different from our generation. They just rather kill you and then spit on you.
We need to let our kids go. We need to go back to the schools and explain all of our kids what happened during the 60s and how we got up to this far. And they need to pick up their own cross and carry it.
They are ordinary people who made extraordinary sacrifices. Their stories will live on forever. In the black and white pages of history books are permanent parts of this country's past and future.
In fact, I wouldn't take anything from the experience. You know what I mean? And I feel like if I had to go all over that again to try to get to this day, I'd try it over again. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
In Birmingham, Valerie Carter, ABC 3340.